I'm going to outline 10 franchises that you can go and buy into literally today. And you're probably asking, why the heck should you own a franchise? Well, first and foremost, it allows you to become your own boss. Everyone loves that. But more importantly, let me fill you in on some insider baseball. When I was at Blackstone and KKR, aka the best private equity firms in the entire world, we loved franchises. Why? Because they print cash.
Private equity firm Blackstone could soon own popular sandwich chain Jersey Mike's Subs.
Equity firm Rourke acquiring fast casual chain Dave's Hot Chicken in a $1 billion deal. At least that's what's been reported.
And in this video, we're going to be answering the very simple question of which franchises should you buy. We are going to be skipping through the long grind of searching through thousands of different franchises, and we're going to single out my 10 favorite franchises that I think make the most money. And we're going to rank them all the way from lowest to highest annual revenue potential. And when I tell you that one of the franchises at the end of this video is doing $3 million in revenue per year, jeez. All right, lock in. And look, you are not too late to the ship, but what I would say is that this ship is filling up very freaking fast. There are almost 800,000 franchise owners in America. And an even crazier stat is 93% of them are profitable. You're getting the picture here? Good, because you're not going to want to miss out on this. And I got to take everything that I have in my head and give it to your head, and we have no time to waste. So saddle up, grab your pencil, take notes, save this video, and let's dive into the first franchise to see if this is worth making a smart money move. Let's rock. And for each of the 10 franchises, we're going to outline the business model, my investment thesis, as well as the financials required, meaning how much you have to put up in a minimum investment to run and operate and buy equipment and hire a team, as well as the earnings potential and annual revenue. So on the first one, home inspection. The business model of home inspection. This is very much having a service provided to home buyers or soon-to-be home buyers to inspect the home before they purchase. And my headline thesis on this market is that home inspections are mandatory for every single real estate transaction, whether it is a purchase of a new build, a used inventory, whatever you name it. Before you can step into the house, you have to inspect it. So there needs to be a service provider like Pillars to Post providing those inspections. Now, the minimum investment that you need to buy in, to have the equipment, to have the team, this one is around $100,000. And the revenue potential that you can have annually, meaning what is the average revenue per franchise in their network? This one is sitting around almost $240,000 per year. So very quickly after year one, if you don't have that many costs, you can recoup that minimum investment. Pretty solid. And this is what gets me fired up about owning franchises. Not only are you able to step in and be an owner on day one and also start to generate cash flow on day one, but you get to benefit from a scaled national brand. You also receive support from the actual franchisor, meaning that you have mentors, you have folks that can help you support, build business, have best practices so that you're not doing this all alone. It is like having a team, but like you own your individual team within that team. I don't know how to describe it, but it is a genius business model with incredible resources and support if you want to own a franchise. Now, given that they are providing all of the support, there are associated costs, and those costs are in 3 different buckets. Number one is the actual franchise investment, meaning it's kind of a buy-in into the network. The second is royalty fees. They take a piece of the gross revenue that you generate from your underlying franchise. And then the last one is like admin costs. It's like a small percent of your gross revenue, but I think that covers like marketing and admin and back office tools, etc. But if it's a good franchise done right, odds are you're still generating significant profits. So that's the first one, home inspection. But let's level it up and see what other kind of services within the house can we buy a franchise in that has pretty strong revenue potential. And this one is Dryer Vent Wizards. So for Dryer Vent Wizard, great logo, by the way. This business works with homeowners that own a drying machine. And what's happening with drying machines? It breaks down, you have to fix it, and you need to have a professional come to ensure that it's working properly every single year. Because guess what? People have clothes, they have laundry that they need to wash, and they need to get dried. And my headline thesis is that the housing inventory, as well as dryers that are in most of these houses, is starting to reach the end of its useful life. So what happens at that point is that you need to do a lot of repair and maintenance on existing drying machines. And what does Dryer Vent Wizard do? They go in and they provide cleaning and maintenance and repairs on dryer vents. Plain and simple. Doesn't get more simple than that. But oh yeah, by the way, since you need to regularly do improvements and maintenance, this is a recurring revenue model, meaning you can have service contracts with homeowners to where you are going into their house and fixing and cleaning their vents every single year or every single quarter. That's smart to have predictable, strong revenue streams and hopefully strong cash flow. All right, but let's talk the numbers. All right, so minimum investment. I see from here, it is $90,000 for a minimum investment to buy into Dry Vent Wizards. And the average revenue per franchise is $240,000 as well. So very equivalent to the first one, Pillars to Post, but this one is focused on a very particular equipment and machine in that household. The reason why I rank this one higher is that Pillars to Post heavily relies on just home sales, whether it's new construction or used home sales. But this one, you don't need to sell a home. You just need to ensure that there's a dryer in the home that needs repair and maintenance and vent cleaning. And it has the recurring revenue service contracts. That's what I like most about it. But now we're moving on. We're going to transition from the homes to the crime scenes. And this one is called SteriClean. SteriClean provides specialized cleaning services for trauma, crime scenes, and biohazard environments. And they serve customers like police departments, municipalities, businesses, other environments. Wherever there's a mess, like a very dirty mess, like a crime scene, they're the ones that go in and clean it up. And why do I like this so much? Here's my thesis. There is a growing focus on outsourcing this kind of cleaning service, which is a very specialized, intensive cleaning service, to third-party providers like biohazard cleanup businesses. But oh yeah, by the way, there is heightening protocols and regulation on the standard of cleanliness. Following COVID, where germs are all over the place, people want to make sure that things are sterile and clean in different environments, especially if there's a biohazard or crime scene or anything involving any of those messes. If the economy is good or bad, you still got to clean up that crime scene from the mafia. All right? Plain and simple. Now on to the minimum investment. This one has a minimum investment of around $80,000. You kind of just need the equipment, the chemicals, and the team. And on the annual revenue, these can really depend on the size of customers that you're working with, but on average, for this franchise, they have a $263,000 annual average revenue per franchise. That is pretty solid, but one key thing that I will flag is that there is starting to become more private equity interest in this kind of space. So I assume that there will not be as many franchises available for this particular business or other ones that are lookalikes, because it is a very recession resilient, long-term sticky contract, very required and necessary business model. So you better buy in before private equity does. I'm just saying. Moving on to number 4, Mathnasium. This education-focused business is providing after-school tutoring for K-12 students across the U.S. with personalized curriculum, extra support to ensure that students are excelling in math in school. And by the way, Kenny Finance was a customer because I put my nephew into Mathnasium back in our hometown. So what's my headline thesis on this market? Well, number one, I think there is significant learning loss post-COVID. Meaning, once schools went digital, students were not as effective in learning some of the core STEM curriculum, because it is very well known that in-person school was a lot more effective than digital school. And now we're seeing a lot of school districts and parents trying to catch up to that learning loss from COVID. And how can they do that? They can do that by hiring third-party services like Mathnasium to provide tutoring to the students. And then my second thesis is a bunch of iPad babies. And these folks are getting super distracted with Roblox and TikTok and all these different things. They need to be learning math on pen and paper. So Mathnasium does that. But also, the math works for this business. The minimum investment is around $112,000, but the average annual revenue is sitting at around $367,000 per year per franchise. It kind of makes sense because just for my nephew, I was paying like a few $100s per month to have him spend just a handful of hours per week at their Mathnasium campus. I mean, I wasn't getting ripped off. It actually worked, but it's a genius business model. So now I might consider like actually buying the franchise that then teaches my nephew so that I can generate cash flow from myself. Nah, I don't know, I'll do that. But moving on. So pivoting to the 5th franchise, but before we dive super deep into it, I just want to make you very well aware of something. If you were to buy all of these different franchises 1 through 4, you would have been generating on average almost $1 million of annual revenue just by owning these 4 different franchises. That's kind of banger, right? It's kind of better than a 9 to 5, in my opinion, at least. And if you guys are enjoying this, please consider doing a huge favor for us and let us smash in that subscribe button and join in the community. It costs you absolutely nothing, No minimum investment, no franchise fee, no royalty fees. It just requires your support and your encouragement, and it means the world to me as well as my team as we try to get as many smart money moves out there to figure out what you should be doing when it comes to your investing and your money. So I appreciate that, guys. And if you have already subscribed, welcome to the fam, baby. Let's go. Okay, like in Guinea Vinings. Number five, Everline. So Everline does the very, very, very boring service of parking lot stripping, asphalt repair, and maintenance and services to different parking lots for commercial, industrial, and government clients. Very, very, very boring, but essential stuff. Because if they don't do this, you don't know where to park, dude. Kind of crazy, right? I've always wondered who actually provided the service. And why is it that I've never seen actually a worker doing this job? It's always been done. Kind of mysterious like that, man. But my headline thesis is that there is aging public infrastructure, especially transportation infrastructure, to where we have roads that are cracking, asphalt that needs repair, as well as parking lots that just need a little bit of a polish over to make sure that it's looking clean and organized for environments. Now, the numbers on this, the minimum investment for an Everline franchise is around $100,000. But catch this, the average revenue is around $450,000. That is right. We have entered that next tier of businesses doing $400,000 plus of annual revenue. There's a handful of these, and it just gets absolutely crazier throughout this video. So shout out to the Everline franchise owners, because you all are printing bank. Because guess what? The average recurring cost for this, you already have the equipment, upfront CapEx, you only need a handful of employees, and then for these contracts, you can kind of add on more business or increase your prices over time. So it kind of works. That's why I think these folks are printing absolutely cash. I like this. Moving on to number 6, Junk King. Anywho, Junk King provides hauling and junk services for residential customers. They will literally drive up to your house and drop off a huge freaking container for you to dump any and all junk. And they'll come a few days later and they'll pick it up and they'll drop it off at the land disposal sites. Simple business. So what do? They get rid of your trash, like your really, really, really big trash. And what do? You pay them for it. Great cash flow business. And I love this business model because there's diversified customers like construction sites, commercial opportunities, residential, and odds are folks are just accumulating more and more and more stuff. And there's a natural cycle of accumulating stuff and getting rid of stuff. When you're moving, you're dumping a lot of things. So there's a natural recurrence of having to need hauling and junk removal services. Here comes Junk King. But to get into this, it costs a pretty penny, but I promise it's worth it. Check out these stats. The minimum investment for a Junk King franchise is $125,000. That makes sense because these actual large pieces of equipment and trucks, they cost bread. But how much do they generate in revenue? Now we're kicking it into high gear. This is what you came here for, all right? This one is generating $550,000 every single year in annual revenue. Just from junk. And guess what? AI is not picking up your trash, especially your really big trash. So I like this one. Hey, so I want to bring you guys behind the scenes of what it's truly like to do diligence on a small business acquisition. And I am currently like 10 feet deep into financial due diligence for this particular business, which is a funeral home service company in Texas that I'm looking at acquiring. And right now it's like 2:17 a.m., so it is very late and it's a lot of work to do. And when you're looking to acquire a business, you don't want to do everything completely by yourself, especially things that require an extremely professional set of eyes, especially when it comes to the numbers and accounting. So what I always love to do, and I always encourage, is for folks that are serious about buying business, have the dream team consist of one key player. There's other folks, but there's one special player you need to have on your team, and that is a quality of earnings provider, meaning someone that is a experienced and seasoned accounting executive that can come in and help you do a proof of cash analysis, a net working capital peg analysis, understanding a comprehensive quality of earnings report, and that is mission critical. And that leads us to thanking the sponsor of today's video, High Point Advisory, who I personally am using on my deals for quality of earnings and proof of cash analysis. This is an amazing set of seasoned accounting execs from great firms that are specialized in understanding the Wild West of small business numbers, quality of earnings, and especially doing a proof of cash. And at the end of the project that I'm doing with them, I will have a very clear and clean report that showcases the business that I am looking to acquire actually has X, Y, and Z of cash flow coming in and out of that business. And there truly is proof of cash sitting in these bank accounts. So I'd like to thank them for sponsoring today's video. And if you all are interested in working with High Point Advisory, check out the link down below and schedule a free consultation to work with them on your next deal. Thanks. Moving on to number 7, dry bar. You guys remember that lyric from Drake where it's like, nail done, hair done, everything did, oh, you fancy, huh? That was like the preamble to this business model, dry bar. This business is a chain of salons that focuses on blowouts and hairstyling. I don't know the other different types of services, but that's all I can know so far. And their business model is that they target recurring and high-income females with long hair that need to get styling and blowouts. Very simple, and it's very efficient for them. And what is my thesis? Since they are targeting this higher income, busy, working female professional, or those that have a higher disposable income, efficiency and time saving is key for them. So they love to go to a place that has a very efficient, fast, quick business model with extremely quality service. Boom, introduce dry bar. They're not spending 5 to 10 hours at a hair salon. Dry bar is very efficient, sticking to the services that they can get in, get out in a handful of minutes to save these ladies time. And what are they doing? They are paying for that convenience. Let's check out these numbers. The minimum investment, given it is a very expensive because you have to get into a highly urban, highly expensive area, is around $400,000. But you're bankrolling $855,000 in average revenue for franchises. That prints. Now, I don't know if they'll let a guy like me go in there. Like, I could use a blowout. I don't know what I would look like with a blowout. But I think this is a genius business model, and you can probably expand this and have multiple franchises in different locations. You have one that's generating $800,000, minimal costs. You cover your investment. You use that cash flow to purchase the next franchise, and then you dominate this region of a high growth, high population of working or high income females that have hair that need to get it blown out or whatever you call it. That is a genius business model. But funny enough, this is probably one of the only franchises within, I think, like the hair care and personal beauty space that generates this kind of revenue potential because of the strategic go-to-market. Other ones like nail salons and other barbershops and other hair salons, they are targeting other communities that just doesn't have as much of a disposable income as the targeted dry bar populations. Like you will see a dry bar in like Midtown Manhattan, in Brooklyn, in Chicago, like very expensive areas. I don't think you'll find a dry bar in freaking Moscow, Idaho, right? No shame to Moscow, Idaho. I used to sit on the board of a business there. But I'm just saying, it's like a different community there. So if you have the capital to buy in $400,000, which is not cheap, this might be a sound investment. So for number 8, I wanted to introduce you to this tier of business models we're going to be looking at. Because now we're moving into the 1 million plus average annual franchise revenue tier for franchises. This is just crazy. So for this one, we call this Mr. Sparky. That's an awesome name too. All of these have great names. Mr. Sparky is a simple electrician business, meaning their business model is that they work with commercial, small businesses, and homeowners to fix all their electrical needs. Plain and simple. And if you haven't heard by now, we are in a significant electrician shortage. Like significant. So a franchise that is already existing that you can buy into, that already has the team, the staff, the customers, you're gonna have to pay a pretty penny for that, but also it prints cash. And what's my headline thesis on this market? I think number 1, we have an aging electrical infrastructure in the US, meaning transmission distribution poles are literally so old. All the electrical components in homes are super old as well, meaning they are prone to a lot of outages, faults, fires, and God forbid if there is a storm, good luck trying to get that stuff back up to speed. So there needs to be a lot of repair and maintenance happening of electrical components inside homes and buildings. Plain and simple. But then also, there is so much more demand on that aging infrastructure. We have different phones, we have electrical vehicles, we have renewables, all kinds of things. So you can only imagine a 100-year-old utility infrastructure, both on the poles and in the house, can't really handle the electrification needs of today and tomorrow. Where we are headed as a society with technology and cars and smart homes, we're just gonna need to replace all this stuff, in my opinion. But the first step is to send an electrician to your house to fix the things that are going out or soon to be catching fire for electrical needs. That's the first step. But for us as investors, let's find a good play here. So the minimum investment for this is around $85,000, likely needing to have the franchise costs and a truck and then access to actual talent. You need to have a verified electrician, a licensed electricians on staff that you hire. Good thing is, the franchisor helps with that by building a talent pipeline and helping you source actually good talent, and vet them and interview them. But you still have to do the legwork of actually bringing in and hiring and keeping those electricians. But if you can do that, you can be making $1,284,907 as the annual average revenue for Mr. Sparky franchises. I'll repeat that again. $1.3 million of annual revenue for these franchises. Wow. These things are probably selling like hotcakes. It gets even better though. Moving on to ServPro. Fun fact, my uncle owns a ServPro. This is so cool. You're crushing it, dude. All right, so ServPro does disaster restoration and cleaning services. And they serve both homes and commercial clients to where if there is a storm, if there is a flood, if there is a fire, if there is mold, these are the folks that comes in and does the restoration and cleans up that mess. And my headline thesis is that climate change is real, in my opinion, and it is leading to an increased frequency and cadence of natural disasters and climate-related disasters. As you can see in Texas, a crap ton of floods. As you can see in Florida, a bunch of hurricanes. As you can see in California, wildfires. All kinds of things are just making the world of durability for homes and buildings a little bit more difficult. Thus, you need to have very strong restoration and commercial cleaning businesses like ServPro to go in and fix and get these things up and running post-storm or disaster. Now for the cost, my uncle gave me a little bit of inside baseball, but he had to put up a few $100,000 to buy into this franchise and purchase the equipment and get everything up to speed. And for this, they state that it's around $230,000. But what I love most is that you recoup that pretty fast with the average annual revenue. The average one for stabilized and working franchises, $1.6 million in average annual franchise revenue. Nice. Should I just buy my uncle's franchise? Will he give me a discount? Hope he hasn't watched my other videos where I talk about what to sell a business at, but we'll see. We'll try this. All right, but moving on to number 10, my favorite, smash my trash. And no, that's not a joke. That is actually the name of the business. Smash my trash. Like you're smashing the trash. And my team will put up a video right here of you actually smashing down the trash. I love this name. This business is pretty niche and very specialized and incredibly boring, but they are a commercial waste management business that specializes in having on-site compactors that dumps and compresses the volume of trash in dumpsters. And why do they do that? It reduces the volume of dumpsters and it also reduces the hauling costs because the value proposition for customers is that if you have a dumpster on site, aka a dumpster from Junk King or whatever, if you fill it up to the max, you have to go haul it to the site and dump it off. But if you fill it up to the max, and then have someone come in like Smash My Trash to smash it and compact it and compress it, you can add more junk or garbage on top of it. Therefore, it allows for you to have fewer hauling costs because you are compacting as much as you can into that dumpster before you send it off. Genius business model. And I have some friends that work in the space, like the private equity space, and they say that compacting franchise businesses are absolute cash flow making machines. The minimum investment for Smash My Trash is around $360,000. And that is because the actual compacting equipment is very specialized, very heavy, and very expensive. But once you have it, you don't need to buy that many. You just put it literally onto a truck and drive from site to site. And whoever has a dumpster that wants to compact it, they call you, you come, you compact it, it doesn't take that long, and you move on with your day to the next client. Genius. I don't know why Smash My Trash doesn't buy Junk King. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's the KKR ahead of me. All right, we need to do some M&A here. All right, but let's talk about the revenue. $3 million. $3 million. It is mind-blowing that I give this stuff away for free. $3.6 million. Can you imagine what could you do with $3.6 million? A lot of things. All right. Now, I'm not a streamer, okay? I want to be, but I'm not a streamer. But I hear a lot of these streamers say, oh, put W's in the chat for something that's really big. Honestly, we should do that. If you made it towards this part of the video where you got to the real juice of an amazing cash flowing $3.6 million annual revenue franchise like Smash My Trash, I want you to put smash in the chat. That'll be so funny. So thank you so much for smashing that comment down below. But I also want to take a very special moment to just say thank you and express my gratitude for you joining me in this YouTube journey. I am officially 1 year old in the world of YouTube, and we hit 20,000 subscribers. We've helped change people's lives financially, and we're just showcasing everything that I learned on Wall Street, giving it to Main Street actually works. We've had 4 people buy businesses from our content. We helped change AJ's life, amazing things. And normally this is the time where I ask you guys to smash again, that like button. But There's a new feature that YouTube released, and it's called Hype. And it's a small button that's somewhere down there that allows for YouTube to send this out to new audiences and signals that this is a video that is worth hyping up. It costs you absolutely nothing. It's almost the same thing as a like button. But if you're feeling generous and you have the time, please consider smashing that. I keep saying smash. Please consider hitting that hype button. It means the world to me and the team to send it out to new audiences, to make new friends and have more impact. So regardless, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I love every single one of my viewers. I respond and read to every single comment myself. And it just brings so much joy to my heart that we're out here making incredible smart money moves for the entire world. So thank you all. And if you're interested in watching another video, I guess you should probably watch this one where I talk about a vet clinic deal. That is an actual deal that I looked at. I signed an NDA, I met with the owner, I did the diligence for 3 months, and I showcased my entire process from start to finish on finding this deal, on diligencing, and then I allow for the viewers to vote whether or not this is a deal that we should or should not buy. So check that one out. And as always, hype this up. I love every single one of you all, and we're gonna take this smart money moves actually to the moon. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.